Soul Castle does, bringing on the more Subnautica, getting much closer every day towards the ticking deadline. Uh, at this point, though, I finally got a new material for the rocks, an actual capped triplanar material, like I've been waiting for so long. And at this point, I decide that I'm gonna do a little bit of ZBrush and get one more prop in place, one more rock model that I want, and that is a sort of like a stalagmite thingy, and I'm just kind of painting away and sort of meshing around with a. That's what you're looking at right now. So I like ZBrush a lot. I mean, I feel like ZBrush makes creating rocks almost too easy. It's it's the rock maker thingy. Uh oh. Uh oh. I think I left the camera running. I left the camera running. Oh no! It didn't freeze. I left the camera running for a really long time. I thought I turned the camera off for this part. Now I'm trapped in time with a stalagmite. Well, it could be a stalactite too if you want to get technical with it. I can't believe I let this happen. Now maybe I just wanted to really reinforce. Okay, whoa. Okay, okay, we're back again. All right. I forget why exactly that happened. It was because pizza showed up and I was hungry. You watched how long it would take for me to eat 2 slices of pizza at 8 times speed. That's kind of weird. That's really weird. I never even. I think it would probably take longer or less. I don't know. I don't know how I personally feel about how quickly I should eat 2 slices of pizza. Was it 3? I think it was 3 slices of pizza. But that was fast, actually. It felt a little quick. Get that ZBrush! Export that shit out to an OBJ. So, I don't know how many people out there are familiar with the technology, but when you have capped triplanar materials, these I'll have to make some adjustments to the models. But you move the material, you move the model, and the material stays in its current world position, and all of the polygons that are facing upwards get the sand on top of them. So you could take this whole model and just rotate it around. I'm doing collision on it right now. Colliders in Unity sucks. I don't know why. Out of any other technology I've worked with, for some reason, I've never had this much of a slow process of creating collision on meshes. But anyway, you can rotate the model and the sand just stays on the top. It's like so perfect. And I think that the material that I got for this is just, it was dead on. It's exactly what I needed. And look at these, I mean, these really big stalagmite models. But then at that point, I start looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, well, I could have probably just done this with voxels. But you see that hard edge right there that breaks it up? Like, there's something to be said about that, because when your entire world is this sort of convex, bleh, not con. That's not the word I'm looking. I'm thinking. I'm just thinking totally smooth and all-encompassing, just mesh of perfect smoothness. Having something that adds a little bit of a harsh line every once in a while is a good thing to break it up, right? So these big meshes tend to have a tendency to do that. Okay, so this is it. At this point, I'm getting kind of mad at myself because I'm just experimenting too much. But it was just, I had a little bit of extra time and I decided, all right, I'm gonna try one more thing. One more thing. Now that I got the material that I need, I'm going to try one more thing. So I sat in Max and started experimenting with the idea of having a vertebrae, fish vertebrae, really big. You see them all the time. Spinal cord, just kind of going like this. You've seen them in other games. Like, I just wanted to see one of these happen, and I got it in place, and I'm actually like modeling it out right now. Eh, but I think maybe the main reason why I went with this experiment is simply because now that I have that material set up so that we can do stuff other than just more rocks, um, we have the ability to make rock props that look really good, that are super fast using triplanar cap material. We also have the throughput to be able to do anything else. And, giant fishbone was something that was already on my mind. I had a fishbone on the mind. But, I don't even know what that's from. Uh, Here it is. Like, this is just one of those things where I'm just following a hunch, and it's the last it's the last thing I do right before I get the functionality that I need in place, and we have the final meetings to really discuss what's going to be going on for the gameplay, the focus on getting everything in place for the release of the game. So yeah, checking out the fishbone. It doesn't even look anything like a fishbone. It ends up kind of looking a little bit weird, but getting this in place, this mesh, and just sort of setting it up, and then having it placed in the engine. It doesn't actually take place anywhere in the game at the moment. I, I, it was just something to try. We have a lot of power when we now have the triplanar cap material that works with models. So we could do anything technically, right? I mean, it's super fast. I don't know. I mean, and I know the model that I made isn't exactly perfect, but goes right, and then you scale it, and then it ends up kind of looking like this weird giant. That scaling is expensive, however, I'm finding. You can't just scale these models however you want. Not just in terms of collision or anything like that. Of course, these things are a bitch to put colliders on, by the way. Uh, I just wanted to do the spinal cord because I know that you'd be able to end up doing eventually the tail and the head of the fish. But having these like ancient remains of gigantic fish, um, it just is appealing to me. Like I just want to see that, like a giant bone ancient fish head, some creature that's so freaking huge that it like encompasses even the largest thing you'll ever see in the game. Like, and we got some big stuff. A lot of the stuff doesn't even really get covered. Like, you don't get to really see a whole lot of the inner workings of what's going on as far as the creatures and stuff when you watch these videos. You're just looking at pure level design. But we have some pretty big stuff, and that fish, whatever that belonged to this fish right here, yeah, that thing is that would have been a huge fish. That would have been bigger than the biggest thing, period. And more of the collider stuff. You know what? I'm just gonna like lock myself away one day and just like work on colliders and get really good at Unity's colliders. The way I would do colliders in Unreal is in the model file itself. I make a whole bunch of boxes and then I give them a name. And the boxes, as long as they're convex, they work just fine, and you can have as many of them as you want. Although I think that it does get a little expensive after you do a little bit too much. But um, I don't know. At that point, I showed it off to the rest of the team, and kind of had fun with it, talked about it, and it's definitely something that's going to happen. But it's a little out of scope for the big milestone coming up. But that sort of thing is like bigger picture stuff. Like I want to have a lot more interesting environmental design stuff that utilizes the material system and the model props. All right, thank you for watching.
Have a taste of the world.